670 employees, 62 trainees, sales of 450 million euros. The order books at Knorr-Bremse, based in the lower Bavarian town of Aldersbach, are full once again. Sales are expected to continue to rise in 2010. Knorr-Bremse has laid the foundation for this with an efficient production system, motivated employees, and ergonomic work design with MTM as the linking element. Factory manager Franz Birken-Eder explains why. We'd mainly focused on rationalization during the years following 2000 and tended to somewhat disregard the human factor. We discovered in 2005 that our work accidents had increased to an unacceptable degree. We also found out that employees were getting problems with their backs and similar things. So we not only started to systematically plan workstations, but also paid attention to the issue of ergonomics. And, as always, one thing led to another. Our efforts at making workstations safer also enabled us to design them in a more ergonomic way. Brake systems for railroad and commercial road vehicles are not lightweight items. Providing materials and feeding the assembly lines means workers need all their strength. And even when this so-called CAT is used as an aid, transporting caliper units that weigh 20 kilograms from the pallet cage to the assembly area requires some effort. One of the first measures introduced here involved apportioning the task to 2 workers. Making parts available at this workstation has already been significantly improved. An automatic transfer system has also been included in the material flow. The caliper unit is picked up by a lifting device and is made available for the worker directly at the assembly station. The ergonomics check in the brake bracket assembly area provided plenty of rationalization potential. The components were still placed on the rack here. Some of the boxes were chest high, so that removing the parts required great effort. The adjusters were supplied horizontally in the pack, which made it hard to pick them up. The process has been redesigned here. The material is brought to an ideal height for removal by a lifter, and the adjusters are supplied vertically in the pack. Work design using MTM has paid off for Knorr-Bremse in many ways. Harald Ebner, the industrial engineering team leader, particularly sees benefits in the high degree of planning certainty, the simulation of alternatives, and the repeated use of data acquired using MTM ergonomics. That's why MTM is not just an isolated solution for one department, but we have implemented MTM as our standard process in the Knorr-Bremse production system with regard to logistics, layout planning and workstation design. That is to say, it's part of our standard system of rules. They stipulate that all the work processes and procedures need to be analyzed and ergonomically assessed with MTM. This also applies to suppliers' standard conditions, i.e., Knorr-Bremse purchases ergonomic products too. Prospective ergonomics is more effective than corrective ergonomics. This idea played a crucial role in planning the latest assembly equipment. The 60 individual parts that make up an adjuster are tipped into the unit. The size of the container was defined using MTM. The ideal filling height for the parts was discovered. The sequence of filling was assessed in terms of time and was aggregated with the ergonomic strain involved. This has produced a unit where only one operator is required, and availability times and human effort have been minimized, and the quality is right. MTM has also helped the company acquire rationalization potential for the factory logistics. Only small parts are kept in stock for the production lines. Everything else is supplied in line with orders. The supply station is new. Production lines automatically request the customer's individual dispatch containers from the warehouse driver. He provides them at the supply station on time, and they're then picked up by the production line personnel. Company managers not only decided to use MTM from a work design point of view, the method also forms the basis for the new bonus system. The choice of this process was a rudimentary issue in the field of time management. We deliberately chose MTM in order to assess assembly processes and workstation design issues, because MTM is a scientifically based, recognized approach, and this makes it easier to discuss issues and introduce new programs in conjunction with the Works Council. It puts the whole thing on a neutral, accessible basis. That is a very important issue for us. It was important to involve employees and the Works Council from the outset. They also discussed ergonomic malpractices. As a result, all the employees were trained in behavioral ergonomics in conjunction with the Employers' Mutual Insurance Association and the Bavaria Rehabilitation Clinic. Knorr-Bremse is aiming to provide secure jobs in Germany during the next few years. This involved new types of remuneration and motivated employees, says Helmut Brummer, Disc Brake Unit Manager. If we don't understand how to motivate employees in the factory or on the assembly line, we may come up with all sorts of ideas, but they won't work. They need to fall on fertile soil, and this fertile soil is our employees. If our employees understand why we want something, where we're going to, then all the doors are wide open. That's how we're safeguarding our own future.